Welcome to Reasonable Religion. Today I'm going to talk about one of the main reasons people do not believe in God. So one of the main causes for atheism, or one of the main defenses of atheism, is the existence of evil. How can evil exist if God exists and God is good? So either God doesn't exist, or either God exists and he's evil. Another side of the coin of this question is, why do bad things happen to good people, or why do good things happen to bad people? And we'll try to tackle them in just about 3 points. The first point. Now, this is a technical point that evil does not exist. So the issue is, I can't believe in a God who is good if evil does exist. But the Christian definition for evil is the absence of good. Just as darkness is the absence of light, so evil is the absence of good, and goodness is God. God is defined as goodness. God is the one by whom we know what goodness is, and he is the bestower of goodness. Some may argue, and many do argue, that I can be good without God. An Orthodox Christian notion of grace is that God is initiator, sustainer, and consummator. God begins even before we're able to begin. He continues with us in our doings, and he completes what we set out to do. So his grace is everywhere. So even if I deny that I know goodness and I know what the good is and I know right and wrong on my own, there is no real way to defend that I did not get this knowledge of goodness from God himself, one way or another. So the idea that evil doesn't exist should appease the philosophical dilemma that goodness and evil both exist and are at odds. God exists, and insofar as the rest of humanity and creation, because of humanity, has distanced itself from God, it experiences evil. So our experiences of evil are indeed real. We cannot say we do not experience evil, but it is not a substance in itself. And so God did not create it. And so you don't have to believe in an evil God, and you can believe in a God who created all good. The next point, number 2, is from a philosopher of the 5th century named Boethius. He gives us also a philosophical consolation, and that's what his work is called, The Consolation of Philosophy. Very simply, he says, the good are rewarded by becoming good, gooder, better. They become goodness. They become transformed in the good. They acquire goodness. They become more human-like, less bestial, less animalistic. And he also says that the evil are punished by becoming worse, by becoming evil, by acquiring evil, by moving further from the fulfillment of their humanity. And so you don't necessarily have to worry about the question of justice, because the greatest evil that can befall you is to become an evil person, for your soul to be transformed into something that is unhuman-like, that is not for the final end of what humanity and your particular humanity in your particular circumstances is supposed to look like. And so the question of why bad things happen to good people and good things happen to bad people shouldn't bother us so much, especially within a Christian framework in which there is a final reckoning, a final judgment, a final settlement, that I receive the due rewards of my deeds, whether good or bad. And at this point, it's obvious that evil does exist, and it will exist, and in the Christian belief, it will exist until the second coming of Jesus Christ. And so this brings me to my third point, that although evil exists, God responds to evil with goodness. And you can take the example of Judas. Whether or not you're a Christian, you read the Christian narrative and you see that there is a betrayer named Judas who betrays his master with a kiss, as though he is pretending to be his friend, pretending to be on his side. It is a betrayal to the heart. It is a betrayal that leads to the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. And yet God uses this for the salvation of the world. You also see it in the book of Job, who is the sufferer of sufferers. He is the sufferer par excellence. There is no one who could lose more than what Job lost. Lost family, lost livestock, lost health, lost everything except his own soul. Even those closest to him, his wife and his friends, turned against him. And the idea of the book of Job is not that Job receives everything twofold at the end. The point of the story is that Job is transformed in his encounter with evil because he comes to know God in his struggle. There is a positive outcome to evil. Again, evil exists because we have separated ourselves from God, and this has been a trickle effect from the beginning of humanity until now. It's been accumulated and perverted in various forms, in various ways. And it's our job to get rid of this evil, but it does exist. And so in our experience with evil, God can still use it for good. If you look at the book of Job, at the beginning, he's a good guy. In the middle, when he hits rock bottom, he says, you know what? I don't see God. He's not there. He doesn't exist. And at the end, he says, I used to hear him by the hearing of the ear. Now my eyes have seen him. I've experienced God. So even that good guy, at the beginning of the book of Job, he's a really good guy. We all think we're really good people. And to some extent we are. But you see, by the end of the book, he says, now I've experienced God. That thing before, when I thought I was good, I wasn't. And so even though evil exists, it can be used for good if we orient our negative experiences towards God in his pursuit. These are just a few of the responses for the problem of evil and the problem of theodicy, why bad things happen to good people and how evil can exist if God exists and God is good. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to subscribe, share, like, and comment. Also comment with what videos you'd like to see next, and I will see you at the next video.